Hi, this is Lisa White. Thank you so much for participating in today's webinar. Those of you that are elected officials, you will receive 1 university training credit for participating today, so we appreciate that and we're happy to have you joining us. If you're not familiar with the webinar format, you should see a control panel to the top right of the screen. You have an orange arrow to the left of the panel, which will minimize the entire box. All participants will be muted for the webinar, but we do definitely encourage you to ask questions by typing them into the question box on the control panel. If you want to enter those questions in anytime, you certainly may, but we will answer questions at the end of the webinar. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to our presenters. Mirka Della Cava, she is the Program Manager and Team Lead for the Colorado Energy Office's Energy Performance Contracting Program. There she promotes public-private partnerships by connecting energy service companies and public agencies that are eager to realize savings from energy efficiency opportunities in existing facilities. She's been involved in energy efficiency policy, climate change policy, and energy policy her entire career, with senior positions at Climate Works Foundation, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, and the U.S. EPA. Along with her is Paul Engel. He is a senior account executive for Ameresco in the Rocky Mountain region based out of Denver. He acts as the main point of contact for his clients from cradle to grave, with his primary responsibilities including business development within local governments, state agencies, K-12 schools, and higher education. He has 12 years experience in development and implementation of energy services performance contracts and renewables in Colorado, the Midwest, and throughout the U.S. He is an active member of the Colorado Energy Efficiency Business Coalition, the Colorado Energy Services Coalition, and holds a certification from the Association of Energy Engineers as a Certified Energy Manager. So clearly you are in very good hands today. Again, we will be recording the webinar and it will be available probably maybe later today or tomorrow on our website, cml.org, under training materials. So if you have any questions or want to watch it again or share the link with a colleague who wasn't able to participate today, you'll be able to do that. Again, thank you for participating. I'm turning it over to Paul.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Once again, my name is Paul Engel. I am with Ameresco. I've been with them for quite a while here, and I'm excited to be here with you all today. So the Energy Services Coalition, as you see there, the mission is to promote the benefits of, provide education on, and serve as an advocate for the widespread use of energy performance contracting in both public and private facilities. There's a diverse membership, provides unique opportunity to both independent third-party information and education, and identify and overcome barriers. Really, the Energy Services Coalition is an advocacy committee made up of a lot of interested individuals and firms, including those energy service companies such as Ameresco and some of our competitors also in that market. Change this. Thank you. So energy performance contracting at a glance. Really, what is performance contracting? The way I categorize performance contracting is it's really a capital creation tool. What performance contracting looks to do is identify savings within your current operations budget that can be leveraged over time to pay for facility and implementation improvements today. And we're going to kind of go through this here step-by-step basis, let you know the timeline for how these projects work, and let you know some of the details and some of the typical conservation measures that you'll see within a performance contract. Energy performance contracting has been around for quite some time. It's been around since the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. The Colorado Energy Office here has done a great job of promoting the program, and you'll hear from Mirka here in just a little bit, and she'll tell you more about Colorado's specific program itself. So really, what challenges do you face within a facility? These are ideas in which performance contracting can be used to assist with some of the challenges that you and your organizations may be facing today, whether it's you've recently passed a carbon neutrality goal, or you have just a sustainability policy that you're trying to live by. Our biggest customers, we find that they have aging infrastructure, and they have a ongoing deferred maintenance backlog or capital improvements that have just been pushed to the back burner for so long, and this deferred maintenance budget is getting to be millions and millions of dollars, and they really have no way of tackling some of these needed improvements. So that's one area in which performance contracting can really help you out. As I said, this is a capital creation tool, so obviously if you are deferring let's say the replacement of a natural gas boiler, it's maybe 70% efficient, it's 25, 30 some years old, it's got to go, but you don't have the ability to pay for that new boiler. Let performance contracting and the savings that are associated with going to a 90 plus efficient heating system make that leap for you. And so the results are there on the right hand side. As you'll see, the arrow is pointing almost directly towards guaranteed results. So that's one of the great aspects of performance contracting, is that performance contracting comes with a performance guarantee at the end of the project, which means that if we evaluate your facilities and come back to you with an opportunity, and we tell you that this opportunity may save you, will save you $100,000 in annual operating costs, we actually come back and perform measurement and verification every year thereafter to make sure that you're meeting that guarantee of $100,000. If you are not, we actually write a check for the balance. So if you only save $90,000 when we promised you would save $100,000, you'll get a check from Amoresco or the other, or whomever you may be working with, for the remaining $10,000. That really separates us from any other contractor, any other program that's out there to date. So we really hope that you take advantage of it. So typical project selection. This was really dependent upon you and your organization's specific goals. So I'm going to start actually at the bottom of this, where you see typical payback term of 0 to 6 years, lower capital costs and high returns. This is what we kind of refer to as low cost, no cost type improvements that can be done with little to no capital outlay, but you can realize significant energy savings by doing some of these smaller measures. That's really if you're just trying to tighten things up within your organization. Medium capital cost, medium returns, that's typically between 7 to 12 years we see, and then larger capital improvements. Those are some of the improvements I was speaking about earlier, where you have major mechanical replacements. You have HVAC systems that need to be replaced. You maybe have a roof as well that needs to be included, that could be included in this project. And those are typical payback terms between 13. It says to 100 plus years there, but the current legislation in Colorado allows you to do performance contracting up to 25 years, I believe. So what the larger projects are able to take advantage of is if you're able to take some of those larger HVAC improvements, the roofs, the boilers, the chillers that need replacing, and you're able to bundle them up with, say, lighting and HVAC controls and other low-hanging fruit, what you can do is you can buy down the cost of those larger capital improvements. And that's where we see a lot of our clients taking advantage of this program, is utilizing the savings that they have to pay for the improvements that they can't fund any other way. So as I've been saying kind of throughout this, this is an alternative approach. This is an innovative financing technique. A more traditional would be your design, bid, build approach. Design, bid, build is typically you hire a engineering firm to come up with a solution for a design on a scope of work that you're looking to accomplish. You hire a general contractor. They then bid the work out. You typically select the lowest responsible bid, and then you move forward with implementation to build that, and that's done separately by the GC and the individual trades. In a performance contract, we typically utilize what's referred to as a design build process. So the performance contracting company can, everything is done in-house, and we not only our team would not only design the project, but we would also implement it as well. So this saves a considerable amount of time. We're able to make changes on the fly. Typically, you don't see change orders within this type of approach. You have a fixed project price at the end of the day, and it's the ESCO's responsibility to deliver on that project price. And throughout the entire process, from cradle to grave, you have a single point of responsibility, and that is with the ESCO, or as how I refer to it as you have one throat to choke. If you ever have any questions, concerns, you see something's not going as necessary, you don't get into the back and forth discussions as to where that responsibility lies. So how it works. So as you see there on the left-hand side of your screen, you have your annual budget before improvements. So an energy service company will typically create an energy baseline for all of your facilities. And within that, you'll have water, you'll have electricity, natural gas, propane, anything that's really considered a utility. And what we'll do is we'll create a baseline based on typically anywhere between 1 to 3 years. So we know exactly how much energy your facilities are consuming on an annual basis. And what we'll do is we'll be able to determine what the savings will be moving forward, and then those savings are taken out of that annual operations cost. So if you see the after improvements down there on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, that's where the funds are coming from to pay for your project. So we're hoping to not only reduce your energy costs, but reduce your maintenance costs as well. And then those savings are leveraged over time. So if you have $1 million utility spend a year, and we think that we can save you $100,000 a year, obviously you have $100,000 in an annual payment to pay for those improvements. So the contractual agreement between the energy services company and the customer. There's actually 2 contracts that typically get executed within a performance contract. One is typically with the energy services company, and that's the implementation contract, the performance contract. And then there's a separate lease purchase agreement, and that is with a third-party financier most of the time. You can pay these projects out with cash, and we've had clients do so because they have found that the project actually has a better return than having their money just sit in the bank. The energy services company makes no money off the financing of the project. Typically, we will bid your third-party financing contract out to multiple third-party financiers. And what happens is what happens is the third-party finance company provides the money up front for the projects to be implemented right away in real time, and then they accept the repayment from the savings that are being achieved in the operations budget. And again, that repayment is guaranteed by the energy services company. So the banks see this as a very worthwhile investment backed by a private organization. So you can get some great rates. Typically, we see these. The most popular financing mechanism is through a TELP, or a tax-exempt lease purchase agreement. Those can come from bonds and no levy overrides. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Yep, that's exactly the next slide. So yes, lease purchase agreements are very popular with municipalities. As I was saying, there are other ways you can fund these projects, just like any other project, really. Some of the best projects we see is when we're able to leverage not only the financing, but then also we're able to bring in supplemental funding or grants from other organizations. We've been successful, ESCOs have been successful working with DOLA, CDPHE, GOCO, you name it, in order to find additional funds to hopefully make your project cash flow or look that much better. I've kind of been cruising through this pretty quick, but the performance contracting process overall and what does it look like? So before anyone really gets too excited, what we typically try to do, whether it be a ESCO or whether it be the Colorado Energy Office, is that we'll go through a feasibility or viability study, which typically takes around 30 days. And this is really where we create that energy baseline we were discussing. We collect utility bills. We fully understand how and when you're using energy and what the potential savings may be. And from then, we're able to come back and say, does this contracting process make sense to you or not? Then, if you did want to move forward, you would sign a MOU or Memorandum of Understanding with the Colorado Energy Office. You can select a energy services company via sole source or through a RFP. So as America may go into this here in the very near future, the Colorado Energy Office has done a great job of pre-qualifying. I believe it is 10 ESCOs currently that are pre-qualified in Colorado, along with all of our qualifications, our open book pricing that we have to abide by. So if you'd like, you can sole source and go directly to pick a provider if you believe that satisfies your procurement guidelines, or you can go through a traditional RFP process as well. So once you have a ESCO on board, you would start really what we refer to as investment grade audit. There's really a preliminary investment grade audit and there's a final investment grade audit. The preliminary is we're going to take a run through all of your facilities, come back to you with ROM pricing and savings, or rough order of magnitude of what we think your specific project would look like, what that scope of work is, and the associated savings. Then you decide your scope of work you want to move forward with, and that is typically what the ESCO will move forward with into final design and develop for you to hopefully then sign to then roll over into a energy performance contract, which would then be signed. The next, as I said, was the performance contract. We usually see this about a 30-day turnaround once everyone's legal team has had fun reviewing everything, and then we go into implementation from that point on. The third-party financier has appropriated those funds. That money is there for the ESCO to use to build the project out, and implementation occurs. So that's really just like any other construction project you may have, where the ESCO builds your project out. Verification or measurement and verification, that's 3 years plus. So within Colorado, you are required to do at least 3 years M&V, measurement and verification. So the ESCO will come back for at least 3 years and verify you are making your savings guarantee. You can have measurement verification go on for the life of your agreement, up to 25 years if you'd like. There is a small annual fee associated with that clarification and with that report. But at the end of 3 years, if you are satisfied that you are making that savings guarantee and you don't believe that that guarantee is of value anymore, you can cancel that service after 3 years. And right now, I will hand it over to my colleague who's going to tell you a little bit more about the Colorado Energy Office.
Great. Thank you, Paul, and thanks all of you for joining. This is a great opportunity, I think, to reach out and help us from the Colorado Energy Office achieve one of our goals, which is really to educate and inform all public jurisdictions in Colorado about the potential for energy performance contracting, for the potential for future utility savings to pay for your current facility improvement needs. So in addition to informing and educating, we then really want to help jurisdictions, if they enter into a performance contract, to have a really successful experience. And I'll talk about some of the tools that we offer for that. And then, of course, in the end, to realize the benefits of energy efficiency, the cost benefits, and the energy savings. So Paul just walked you through kind of the timeline and process for an energy performance contract. Very similarly, our program at the Colorado Energy Office is a 5-step process. It kind of starts at the beginning with the jurisdiction, yourselves, contacting and communicating with the Energy Office and entering into kind of a partnership by signing a memorandum of understanding. It's a non-binding agreement, but it really helps us to set the terms for both what we will do and provide for you during the 5 steps of this process, and then also in turn what we need from you to be a good partner, building a team, consistent communication. So that is usually the first step, is signing the MOU. Then again, then you move into finding your energy service company partner through, as Paul said, either an RFP process, or if your procurement allows for you to sole source and you're working with someone, we would support that as well. As he mentioned, we have 10 pre-qualified ESCOs in our program. That is something that is really a hallmark of a state EPC program, in the sense that I think we went out in 2013 with an RFQ to enlist ESCOs in the pre-qualified part of our program, and we review them for their engineering and technical capabilities, their overall business and organizational health. We certainly want to partner with energy service companies who are in this business for the long haul. So that pre-qualification really gives you kind of a first order screen. Once you select your energy service company, you move into that investment grade audit phase, where the energy service companies go in and really mine for savings. And I should just go back a step and say that when you're selecting your ESCO, if you're choosing to do it through an RFP, we have templates and other supporting tools that you can use to kind of guide you through that process. We also provide support in the ESCO selection process. We'll review the proposals to make sure that the proposals are in line with our statute and our program requirements. And we'll also participate in the interviews and answer clarifying questions, and really be there to help guide you in your selection process. Okay, so then moving to the investment grade audit, which is really when the energy service company comes in and looks at your facilities in dialogue with you, figuring out what your needs are, and really starts mining for savings. Anything that has a utility cost associated with it, electrical, gas, water, is going to be up for grabs. And then they come to and try and put a project together for you that will cost out. During that phase of the investment grade audit, these audits are extremely sophisticated. The engineering capabilities of these energy service companies that do this as a business are really sophisticated, and the reports that they produce are complex, needless to say. So part of what we offer once you sign an MOU with us is you become officially one of our clients, and assigned to you is one of our program engineers. They are with you through all steps in this process for the entire duration of the project. In this case, with the audit phase, they'll actually review the audit and really look at it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that it's abiding by all of our standards, and also to work with you and serve as a third-party reviewer to that those documents. Similarly, if you decide to move into the energy performance contract, all contracts are reviewed by the office, by our program engineers. In addition, we have also worked to standardize contracts, both for state agencies, but more importantly for this audience, for local jurisdictions. We have standardized contracts, which we encourage folks to use because they're designed specifically for energy performance contracting, and it really looks at the needs of both sides in that kind of a specific contract. We worked with, anyway, lots of stakeholders to develop those. And then the financing contract is something that you would enter into, as Paul mentioned, on your own. It's not something that we get involved with. Dodd-Frank sort of makes us unable to really get involved in any kind of a financing conversation. Then once all of that gets signed on the dotted line, you move into the construction phase. We're there to support you as well through that phase, but at that point, typically that's really between the public jurisdiction and the energy service company. That's their contract. Those are the details, inside the facilities, but if you need our support, we're there as well. We kind of come back in guns blazing in the measurement and verification phase, because this is really where the rubber meets the road. You've been told you're going to save X amount on an annual basis. You've used that guarantee to structure a financing contract, and now it's really important to measure and verify that you're getting those savings, so that you can use that portion of your utility budget to pay for these capital expenses that you've incurred. So measurement and verification by statute in Colorado is required for 3 years. Typically, it's an annual report, as Paul mentioned, and that's something that our office reviews very, very carefully, and is in dialogue with the jurisdiction, with the energy service company at each of those milestones to make sure that the guarantee is being met, and to make sure that there's client satisfaction and also compliance with all terms of the statute. That's a 5-step process, and what we do, just in summary, sort of what we believe are some of the key elements of success are that we have these state-approved documents, contracts that were developed, like I said, with many stakeholders, Attorney General's office at the state, the energy service companies, and others. We also have these toolkits, for example, like an RFP template that you can use to launch an RFP for ESCO selection. We have other guidance tools for other steps in the process. And again, the pre-qualifying of ESCOs is just something that is a really important screen for increasing the chances of successful outcomes in these projects. These pre-qualified ESCOs are contracted with the state. No money is exchanged, but there are very specific terms that they have to abide by, including using the contracts, et cetera. And we have a really nice relationship with our partner ESCOs. Also, as I mentioned, the advice and free technical support that we offer Once you sign that MOU, we're sort of with you at no cost for the life of the project, and you get this dedicated engineer to serve sort of as your third-party reviewer. And then lastly, just to say that with regard to the financing, that we don't get involved, we do have a very active EPC financing community in Colorado. We're fortunate we have actors that are, national, multinational institutions to local actors, all of whom compete in the sector. So once you go out with trying to find a financier, you're likely to be in a highly competitive process. Just briefly for our program, just so you know, we've been around about 20 years. In that time, we're just shy of 200 projects with almost 150 clients. So that means that some of those clients have come back for phase 2, phase 3, and initiated new projects. Together, all of those projects have seen private sector investment of over $500 million. We're ranked right now, I believe, somewhere, I think we're number 8, but we might even be higher than that nationally in terms of the amount of private sector investment in facility improvements, which is, I think, a big statement because we have some of the lowest energy costs, the electricity costs in the country. Some of the states that are doing better than us typically have much higher energy costs, utility costs. We service not only, I know we're speaking to municipalities here, and it's important to say that though we haven't really reached all of, we've only reached a small portion of the municipalities in Colorado, we'd really like to continue to do additional work there. Part of that is we're a home rule state, and so it's very individualized. So even though EPC, as we've presented it here today, seems like it has kind of a cookie cutter standard approach, the 5 steps, et cetera, we find that, each project is unique. And saying that, I'll also say that, we bring a lot of experience from these 200 projects to each new project. And so though it may be very unique, we do draw on that past experience to try and bring the best knowledge we have to each individual project. So those are some of our metrics, and you can see even some of the typical measures that are implemented during these projects. Paul talked a little bit about it, but everything from that sort of low cost, no cost lighting projects to more complicated things like street lighting or renewable installations, or even sort of complicated building envelope and other types of efficiency measures. And just a last slide, just to say, why Paul and I are here today talking to you about this. We really do collaborate between the Colorado Energy Office and the Energy Services Coalition, which, as Paul mentioned, is really a conglomerate of, here in Colorado, of energy service companies and the financiers. They come together to sort of have a business representation for energy performance contracting. So we're here together to promote energy performance contracting and, as we said, introduce and educate folks about it. We here at the Energy Office are members of the Energy Services Coalition. We've even held officer posts, whether it's co-chair or I serve currently on the outreach committee. We have shared painstakingly in the contract development process, using energy service company input along the way. And then also, we here at the Colorado Energy Office, we really do use the Energy Services Coalition, their meetings and other events that they participate in as a forum for ongoing coordination and exchange. So it's really a great relationship, and we're happy to be able to present to you today.
Great. Thank you so much. And here's the contact information for Merck as well.
Thank you so much.
So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the questions section. That would be great. Also, Merck, I don't know if you want to mention under handouts, we have something posted there. Merck, did you want to speak to this?
Sure, that's our sort of detailed brochure that walks you through those 5 steps that I was talking about in a lot greater detail. So I know we just kind of did that high-level introduction for you for what each one of those steps means, both myself and Paul, but you can dig into it a little bit deeper if you really are interested. And I would encourage you to just reach out and contact me if you just have basic questions about EPC, or if this presentation has caused you to think about your own particular case, your own particular facility needs, and you just want to run that by us and see if there's some there and a potential for EPC, please do reach out. This is what we do.
Great. And again, that's under the handouts tab on your toolbar. Just click on it. It's a PDF. We're going to give another minute or so for questions. The slides are also available. Yes, the slides are on cml.org under training materials. They're PDFs, as well as we will post the entire recorded webinar there as well. So another minute or two. Any other questions for Paul or Mirka? Appreciate everybody's participation today. Hope this was informative. Hope you found this to be valuable. No questions are coming through. Oh, okay. You're welcome, Tara. Excellent. Well, we sure do appreciate your time and your participation. Couple more CML district meetings that are going to be taking place next week. So if we're going to be in your neck of the woods, we sure hope to see you then. And as always, please let us know if we can ever be of assistance to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the participation.